Well, the country's population has grown to over 57 million. Statistics SA released its population report yesterday, with Gauteng recording the largest share of the population. Joining us now here in the studio is the Chief Director responsible for demographic analysis at Stats SA, Diego Iturralde. Diego, thank you very much for joining us. And the old saying goes, men, women, and children lie, but numbers don't lie. What's the most important fact we can gather from Stats SA today?
Thank you very much for having me. I think the take-home message of this report is that the population, as you have indicated, has exceeded 57 million, 57.3 million, with provincial distributions as expected. But I think the important part of this report is that this is the foundation for a lot of planning and for policymakers to take cognizance not only of the population but of various indicators that are related to the population as expressed in this report.
Okay, so how do we interpret these figures, and what are the repercussions of these figures compared to last year and previous years?
Well, Statistics South Africa, as you are aware, conducts a population census every 10 years. So in that interim, in the period in between the censuses, it's important that information about the population be made available, not only at a national level, but at provincial, district and municipal levels as well, so that people involved in planning for essential services in terms of the policy making are aware of what the population dynamics are, where the challenges are, and what are some of the key decisions that they may need to take.
All right, let's talk about the male-female dynamic.
Yeah.
I'm gathering from your stats that the female population is quite stable at 51%.
Yeah.
Females are living longer than men.
Yes.
Now, what should we men do about that?
Maybe live less risky lifestyles, perhaps.
Do you think, first of all, do you think women are just putting so much pressure on the men that, you know, we just dying off faster?
We'd like to
I need
believe
to ask Flola Twaba about that. Maybe I should be asking a lady about that.
No, I think there are some scientific reasons behind that. It's the disease profile that men and women are exposed to, which are different and which enables or which results in women living longer. Also, men in their younger ages, say between the ages of 20 and 34 and 20 and 39 perhaps, are exposed to more high-risk behavior, are also exposed to occupational health issues such as people working in mines, etc., and which creates health conditions which are not conducive for long living. So this is a trend that we see around the world in most countries, where we see that life expectancy for women is usually longer than that for men.
Okay, let's talk about the city or region of choice. We see that Gauteng still attracts the largest number of people.
Yeah.
Right? Now, for those who want a more peaceful lifestyle or a place where there's less people and they could relax, which region of the country would that be?
Well, we find particularly amongst retired white persons that many of them go to retire in the Western Cape or even the Eastern Cape. Mm-hmm. So that certainly is a trend that we see. But I think amongst other population groups, I think it's also well known that people usually go and retire at their family homes or at their ancestral homes to move away from the big city, which is really a point of attraction in terms of work, in terms of opportunity, education, and a stepping stone to opportunities in other parts of the world.
Well, since we're on the subject of growth, the South African population keeps growing. What do you think are the factors driving this growth? And does the country have enough resources to cope with this? I think that's the key question.
Yeah. So I think that what is driving population growth is the fertility rate of the country, mm-hmm. which since the 1960s has been declining steadily over time. At the moment, we estimate fertility to be at what we call a total fertility rate of 2.4, which means that women in reproductive ages will produce on average 2.4 children if current trends were to prevail until the end of their reproductive lives. Now, if we compare that to westernized countries or Europe, the United States, Australia, Japan, many of these countries are suffering with declining populations because their total fertility rate is under what we call replacement level of 2.1. Other countries like Niger in West Africa have the highest TFR, and they have a TFR of about 7.2. So there are two different challenges on two different sides of the scale of fertility. So fertility is what's actually driving population growth in South Africa at the moment. There is also a moderate amount of migration, international migration, as well as movement within the country. But the key thing about this report is that it really provides people who can provide the resources for people such as electricity, water, sanitation, and the like, for people to be able to live comfortably where they live, and not to be surprised to be saying that there are too many people in one place, or we didn't know that there will be so many people, because this is laying the foundation, laying the bedrock of what the needs of the population in different parts of the country will be.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. Moving along, though, I see the report says the mortality rate has gone down. Yeah. People living with HIV and AIDS, for example, are now living a lot longer. Yeah. And what's changed our life expectancy rate?
I think a big game changer was the introduction of antiretroviral treatment in 2006. We can see in the report in various mortality-related indicators that since 2006, the proportion of HIV deaths have declined. The number of deaths have also declined. Life expectancy has turned around from approximately 50 to what it is now at 64.2. So I think that as a result of treating an epidemic of this nature, the country's population have become generally healthier. Women have been healthier. They're able to produce more children. So we've seen an uptake in fertility since 2006, which is now normalizing. So I think in general terms, the country's populace is really in a much healthier state.
Okay, so when we look at our population stats overall, would you say that, how would you rate it? Are we, as a people, as a country, easier to manage, or do these stats show signs of difficulty in the future?
I think that they show that we have challenges, but that over time we have been addressing these challenges. We have been implementing measures as a country, which have shown positive results, but I think we still have a long way to go. If we refer to that concept known as the demographic dividend, we can see that we're not in a position to benefit from a dividend at this point in time, despite the number of social investments that have been made in education, in health, in the economy, etc. And that we still have a way to go, but significant progress has been made up to this point.
Okay, so if you could choose one aspect of the stats, which area do you think needs to be adjusted for a more harmonious country?
Well, I think that education and health are the two biggest priorities in the country. If we can have a country that is healthy, where children are healthy to be able to be brought up in a way which enables them to go to school and to take advantage of the opportunities that come their way, and for working people to be healthy so that they can contribute to the workplace, that's a benefit. And from the education side, having a system whereby the skills that people are being taught, being trained in, are beneficial to the workplace, then I think the future is extremely bright.